Hey folks, happy Monday to you all. Welcome to another video, welcome to another week. How are you all doing? I'd love to know how you're doing. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear more of your stories as well. Something that I want more from on this channel is interaction. I want to speak with more of you and not just the ones that pay me for coaching. I really want more interaction with you guys. Let me know, how can I do that? If you've got any ideas, if you think that I should be more active on Facebook or on Instagram, what are your ideas so that we can be functioning better as a community? How can I be of more help to you? Please let me know down in the comments. On to the topic for today's video. A question I get all the time. Why, if eczema and diet are so strongly related, why are there children, why are there babies being born with eczema? They haven't done anything wrong. They've come fresh into the world, yet they've got eczema. Why is that the case? How can that be if what I say is correct and that eczema is so related to diet? Let's get into it. It's pretty clear that the number of cases of eczema is on the increase. If you look at the figures, 2001 to 2005, in the UK, there was a 40% increase in the number of cases of eczema in kids. And I would suspect that North America and Australia and Europe and other developed parts of the world are following suit. And I'm getting an increasing number of inquiries from not only those countries, but other countries that are developing and have developed to the point where they've adopted some of the lifestyles of these more Western developed countries. So they're getting more processed food in, they're spending more time in front of screens, they're spending less time outdoors, they're eating more cooked food, more processed food, more ready meals, quick to prepare foods, they're spending less time active, they're sweating less. The world is unifying and not necessarily for the better. We're on more medication than ever before, and we're spending more money on convenience than ever before. And I'm not saying I've got all the answers as to why eczema is expanding and why it's getting so much more common these days, but I suspect strongly that it's a culmination of all of these things. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. And so, just to get back to the point, why are babies being born with eczema? Well, in addition to what I've just said, there was a study. There was a study that kind of shows this, and that study was done by a man called Francis Pottinger. And Pottinger, he took 2 sets of cats and he tracked those cats for 3 generations. So he ended up with children, mothers and grandparents of 2 divided groups of cats. Group number 1 were fed a raw foods, organic, healthy lifestyle, and group number 2 were fed a processed, modern, domestic cat style lifestyle. And the second group, compared to the first group, were much more unhealthy. And the key point, the really interesting part of the study, is it got worse as the generations went by. So the healthy set of cats, group number 1, they lived, the first generation, they lived healthy lives all the way through. They had offspring, the offspring lived healthy lives all the way through, and so did the third generation, continued to be healthy. The second group, the processed food cats, the junk food cats, the first generation started to get diseases towards the end of their life. So they survived. They were able to get through. The first generation were able to get through and get by with the food that they were given. But then their offspring got sicker, got more disease earlier in life. And then their offspring, so the third generation, some of them were even born with disease, and lots of them got sick early on in their life. So what does this show us? This shows us that if I lead a poor lifestyle, I might get away with it for a few years, but my offspring, if I pass that lifestyle onto them, I pass my genes onto them, all the genetic dispositions onto them, they are likely to get problems earlier on in life. So I've managed to cure my eczema through diet and lifestyle, and I've managed to keep it at bay, and it's permanent. I never get flare-ups. But if I could continue my lifestyle and I pass that lifestyle on to my kids, my children are likely to have it worse than me. That's what this study tells us. It tells us that generationally, things augment. And so what we're seeing now with babies, more and more babies being born with eczema and just problems in general, is we're seeing a lack of health in parents and grandparents being passed down. So, everyone has heard those stories of like, oh, my granddad, he smoked and he ate sausages for dinner every night, and cancer only got him when he was 85, and then he died a year later. He had a healthy life. We've all heard those stories, and people like to think that they can get away with what granddad got away with, but he was first generation of this processed food experiment, if you like. We are now, some of us are now third, fourth, even fifth generations down that track, and we're bearing the brunt of that. There are more and more babies being born as a result of the misguidance, the unhealthy lifestyles, the acidic lifestyles of the forebears, of the grandparents. That's what's happening here. That's what's taking place in our society these days. And I really believe that the only way that we can change that, we can uproot this, is to begin an upward cycle. So if it's been a downward cycle, this processed food experiment, this modern day 21st century lifestyle, let's call that an experiment that has not gone well. Let's uproot that. Let's rewrite the rules. Let's get back to nature and start the upward cycle so that it can be better for our kids, for their kids, and health can start to be readopted back into the planet. Look what's happening globally. So many countries this year are getting hotter than ever before. Some of the hottest summers ever recorded happened this year. Is that an accident, or is that really to do with global warming and meat consumption and lack of rainforests and all the rest of it? We can begin an upward cycle, and it just takes one person to do one thing and share that with somebody else. They share it with a few people, and this thing can go viral. And that's why I encourage so much to share these videos, share around what you've learnt, share it with others. Maybe you know more than I do about this stuff. Share it with other people. Get the message out there, and let's get this upward cycle going. That's the only thing we can do. We can control it with diet and lifestyle, and that really is what it is. Because genes play a huge role. Genetic disposition for eczema, of course, it's huge, and most of us are able to do lots about that, and that's what my coaching is all about. But moving forwards, we don't want people to have eczema to deal with at all. Do you want your kids to have eczema? Do you want your grandkids to have eczema? We don't want this. We want this gone. It's not right for humans to have to be battling with eczema. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's share this message around. Let's do what we can. Let's pass on healthy lifestyles to, if you don't have kids, to your nieces, to your nephews, to your foster kids, to kids you meet on the street. Do it. Let's share this message. Help me get this message out there.